Hello, everyone. My name is Charles, and this is Geeks of the Round hangout discussion of Season 2 of Sleepy Hollow, where we discuss the second episode, which I don't really remember the title of.
Well, that doesn't really...
Kindred, not Kinder, Kindred.
You're welcome.
Yeah, whatever. But no, I mean, that's what we're going to be doing during this hangout. We're going to be talking about the Kindred, the second episode of Season 2 of Sleepy Hollow, which is going to be awesome because this episode was freaking awesome.
So true.
Like pretty much every episode of Sleepy Hollow. Although there are some points that I didn't really think it was necessarily bad, but it was something that did get me all riled up, and sometimes that's a good thing and other times it's not. In this case, I'm not really sure yet. I'm sure I'll find out in the coming episodes. But anyway, along with me are my co-hosts, which is Isaiah Mullins.
Yay! Introduce the black guy first. Yay! Hello, Charles. How you doing?
Yes, I am doing awesome. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, and I love this episode, which is nothing new.
Yes, and our final host, who is definitely not a horrible person.
Maybe.
Is Todd Grundle.
I was on mute! Yay! I gotta say about this show, and I'll get into it more later, but you are right about the awesomeness. I have problems that I have lack of comprehension. There's too much awesomeness in this show that it is daunting. In one season plus 2 episodes, it's almost as scary as thinking about watching all of Doctor Who. It's fucking jam-packed with some really good shit.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Well, yeah, the pacing in this show is phenomenal. The pacing is phenomenal. Okay, and what did okay, so now that that's out of the way, how about we give our initial thoughts of the episode?
Okay.
Todd?
He goes first. He's muted, folks, so give him a second.
Unless he went away. Okay, I assume he went away. And he told me not to actually send him the ball. Okay, Isaiah, you give your 2 cents on the episode.
Okay, folks. I did love this episode a lot. Maybe a little bit more than the pilot because we got more story, we got more character development. And Katrina, which everyone hates for some odd reason, she had a really big role, and she's actually doing something really big, for good or for bad. So I can't wait for the coming episodes.
Well, I guess since we're on that subject, I'm going to say this. Why do people think they hate Katrina?
Well, for 2 reasons. Number 1, she doesn't add nothing to the story, which is a lie. And 2, let's be honest here, folks. You kind of want Abigail and Crane to hook up. Let's be honest. You guys want to. And so do I. But I don't hate Katrina. I don't. I want her to be part of the show. So it was kind of like interesting, too, how that all worked out. And, yeah. So we're going to go into it right now with the whole dream sequence of the show. Well, my bad. I spoiled it, but you should have watched the show anyways. It was Katrina at the altar with Henry, who is their son, a.k.a. Ward, and the Headless Horseman, who is Death, and pretty much Abraham, and also Ichabod's friend. I know, right? Ichabod has too many problems. Anyways.
About all the names, I'll tell you. I'm sorry. They pop up on the bottom. I am just learning the names. I'll admit here, I'm a bit of a noob.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a noob. I started last week, and specifically for this hangout, and I'm a bad multitasker. I'm really not stupid. I'm doing 2 things at once, technical things, and so-and-so. So I started last week. I watched a bunch of the episodes. I ran short on time, so then I read a bunch of articles on each episode, of recaps, and I really liked a lot of what I saw. I'm definitely going back to rewatch it all, but I will have to tell you the names. It's everything I know about Sleepy Hollow. I know from one day.
Yeah.
Except for the last 2 weeks. I've watched the last 2 weeks, but season 1 I did in one day, and yeah.
But not to cut you off, but I'm gonna have to raise this one quick point.
Please do cut me off. I'm literally rambling to buy time.
Okay, Sleepy Hollow has a really interesting euphoria behind it. You can only watch one episode and actually get the feeling of it. Some do, some don't, but you get the whole gist of it a little bit more. You know it's goofy, but the people who play the characters play it for real. They play it for real, for real. This reminds me of a show, very briefly, like Beast Wars. You can watch any episode of Beast Wars episodes. You don't feel lost. You don't feel like, what's going on? What's going on? This show takes its time to actually has fun and tell you what's going on in the story. So this is why the altar scene in the beginning was a little bit cool, because you don't know what's going on, but it kind of makes the mysterious thing like this question, like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And so we get this whole altar between Henry and the Headless Horseman and Katrina, and they're doing a binding spell. A binding spell, again, folks, is what happened to Crane and the Headless Horseman. Well, because of Henry at that time period.
Now, when you say folks, you really mean Todd, because that's who you're helping here. So carry on.
Both. But the binding spell was very much a big key factor within the first season. However, due to Henry's quote-unquote help, he untied the bind between the Headless Horseman and Ichabod Crane. However, if this does happen, the altar scene of the binding spell, if that does happen, then Katrina will be stuck with the Horseman. And if he dies, then she dies. That kind of whole scenario that happens. And if they do go down that route of storytelling, that would be really, really cool. However, this is a dream / prediction of the future from Ichabod Crane. When he wakes up, like, oh, what the hell? Okay, we're good. And then speak a little bit things up. Abigail, I keep on saying Abigail because I'm thinking about Hannibal's character, but Abby and Crane are actually discussing on how to get Katrina back, really. And that's a really interesting game.
I thought you stepped into Hannibal there for a second.
Yeah, it's a really hard mess up because there's Abigail and there's Abby. It's like, oh god, I keep on mixing their names up. I both love the actors. That's why I get some names confused because I love those characters so much. But they actually discover like how we're gonna help Katrina. And well, let me back up for a moment. Well, they try to say where could the Headless Horseman be? Abraham, that is. And Abraham had a lot of plot due to his family's fortunes. And we got a little bit more backstory of Abraham. He does care for Katrina a lot. He does, but in his own way. So that is a big mind to keep in mind because Katrina loves Crane because Crane loves Katrina in his own way. However, Abraham does love Katrina, really does, but it's a long, complex, mysterious mind within this whole love triangle, which is a good love triangle too. So they try to look for the plots to where could he be at, right? And so they go to the bank. Because that's how everyone gets their own, like, you have that bank histories of your family's fortunes. So it was really easy to track down his family's estate and pretty much plateau, really. And Ichabod Crane has to be a dick towards a bank teller. It's like, oh, yeah, is that really a bank teller? Yeah, he is a bank teller.
Can I interrupt real quick? Speaking on Ichabod's personality, that's one thing about the show. Yeah, I found it to be, a lot of things are awesome, like, you're looking at the Headless Horseman. They got all these spells, these crazy characters. The other Horseman, that new thing that his son, which I know you guys will get to later, but the thing that was like all black on the inside was like a black soul and an armor.
Right.
That was the son. He was controlling that with his mind, right? Was that
yes.
Okay, so that's like his vessel. Okay, so much cool things. And when I do finally sit down and really watch the first season, I have a feeling I'm going to love it, but I don't think I'm going to love Ichabod because, I don't know, I grew up on the old Disney cartoon. Was that Disney?
Yeah, that was Disney. And there was a book, but I remember it was Disney more.
I actually grew up in, not myself, but always going there. My aunt lived there, and I would be there all the time, weekends, weeks. I'd be dropped off at my aunt for extended periods of time, and she lived in Sleepy Hollow, the town that it was actually real Sleepy Hollow. Because there's a town called Sleepy Hollow now that's not the real Sleepy Hollow. The real Sleepy Hollow is renamed something different.
Yeah, because due to the whole publicity and the popularity of the name, they kind of have to change it anyways. Because can we stop calling this name Sleepy Hollow now? Yeah, let's change the name because it can get. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I would have thought that changing the name was a bad thing because having a town called Sleepy Hollow would actually be great for tourist attraction.
Okay, it's like this. The name can be attractive. However, you got to think about the average person, the average American person. Like, is Sleepy Hollow real? Is that a real place? It must not be a real place because I saw it in a movie. I read it in a book. It must not be real.
See,
Well,
I can see how residents of Sleepy Hollow would find that unknown. It's like, well, yeah, Sleepy Hollow is real because you're standing in it.
oh, really? We didn't know. There's a map. You can read the map.
See, I used to go to that bridge all the time for 10 hours Ichabod Crane and all that other weird stuff. And that's why I think maybe I'm partial to the story. Ichabod's supposed to be neurotic and Weasley. I like the character that this guy is playing, but I don't like the character as Ichabod. So
Okay.
I'm really tossed. It's a really weird thing for me.
I can see your point. I mean, because in all iterations of Ichabod Crane in previous iterations of Sleepy Hollow, either it be the Disney cartoon or even the Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie Sleepy Hollow, which by the way was actually pretty interesting and a good movie.
Okay.
It's always been dark, gloomy, and gothic. It's kind of been like that. But this version of Sleepy Hollow kind of makes me feel like what would happen if Ichabod Crane did travel through time, and how he would experience all the stuff that is normal to us. Like in this episode, when he went to the bank and he grabbed that pin that's connected to the chain and like picked it up, it's I just thought that was hilarious. Is how he reacts to certain things. Like in season 1, he reacted to other stuff that
Like
I thought was
donut,
hilarious.
water, and other stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The water episode, the donut holes.
Oh, yes.
And also how he talked to the woman on the OnStar speaker.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
that was a classic.
Yes. Yeah, how he was talking how much he loved his wife Katrina, and the woman on the phone was going like, "Oh God, that is so beautiful."
Oh, God, and also why I like Ichabod Crane so much in this show, more than the iteration, because, and truth be told, he reminds me of Captain America, because it's like the comic book series, like he was in the 1940s, and he was taken away, he's into the future, and he look at things like, oh wow, you guys take this for granted? It's like, oh really? Oh. So, and plus I watch Winter Soldier a lot, and so I think
Yeah.
so when I watch Ichabod Crane, I think about, hey, that's what I said, Captain America, because he's pretty much acting like a dick, because it comes to like, well, not really acting like a dick, but he's looking over the things and actually processing it and saying like, wow, you guys are really that stupid. Yeah. So I like Ichabod Crane for who he is, and he reminds me of a superhero. So actually, he's like a both. He's a really cool character overall.
Oh yeah, I do like Ichabod Crane. I like him a lot, and the chemistry between him and Abby Mills is great. I love it.
Yeah, I love it because.
Okay, so what have we covered since I dropped out?
Oh, we was talking about how Abby and Crane were trying to find Abraham's location where he might have Katrina. So he looked into his family's estate in the bank.
Yes, and they found the barn that they were in, and
Right.
they decided not to go rescue it. They didn't have a plan. Okay, have we touched on?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say.
No, I was just going to say that. Huh?
I was gonna say really quickly. They to make sure the horseman was in there. Ichabod threw a rock at the house. And okay, I thought like he wasn't in there until I saw the horse. Like, oh shit, it's the horse, because that actually did scare me. Like, that's the horse. And then the headless horseman came out with a shotgun. He's like, okay, am I really that scared of him? I said yes. Okay, good, because I think he did scare me.
That stuff I
Well,
just seeing. I'm sorry, just seeing the Horsemen though with shotguns and just seeing the way these mythical, demonic characters interact with real world stuff. That is something I'm getting a kick out of in this show.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, have we talked about how Benjamin Franklin helped Washington in the Sisterhood of the Radiant Heart?
Not yet, but we're getting to it right now.
Okay then. Yes. Well, it was clearly showing the scene where Benjamin Franklin was helping the witches compile a device called the Kindred. It wasn't technically a device, more of a corpse.
Right.
And there wasn't really anything really remarkable about that scene except for the part when
Oh,
he winked at Kendrick and she smiled.
oh, come on. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Charles, but that had a lot of boatload of interesting things. Number one, the guy that used the bodies is like it was a guy who got killed in the first place by the Headless Horseman. So that makes it even more personal for this character as well. Plus,
Yeah.
sorry, I got. Oh yeah. Plus, all the body parts are from good parts, like good arm, good legs, and everything else. So he's like the bionic man, if you think about it. But he's like Frankenstein. So you can actually think like the science
Yeah.
behind Benjamin Franklin putting all these things together before Frankenstein, the story itself, was even happening. Again, this is make believe, folks. So don't take this for granted words. But I just fell in love with that scene because you saw so much creativity, you saw so much ideas that can go behind it. And if we get a prequel to the show, oh god, that would be like amazing shit right there. Amazing.
Yeah. That would be very cool. Yeah. But to be honest, I don't really have much else to say on that scene. I thought it was okay. But I just didn't. It didn't feel very noteworthy to me. I know it was, but it didn't feel very noteworthy to me.
That's fair.
It was like a way to be able to explain how the kindred came to be, and I'm like, okay, now I know. Move on.
Well, it was a bigger trick
Yeah.
too. The only way to activate this Kendrick, you need something that's part of the Headless Horseman because they're both connected together within spiritual magic. So they need to get the head.
Yes.
Which is like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? What if the Kendrick dies and he takes the head? You guys be fucked. But they said, you know what? Well, it was a nice thing too. I'm sorry to jump back and forth, but Abby and Jenny were actually arguing, debating with Prince, like, should we actually do this for your wife, dude? It's like, do we have much of a choice? And like, damn it, they caved in really. Like, all right, fine, let's go find the fucking head.
Can I play the stupid guy? Can you? There were bits of this episode I was missing out on, and the kindred was one of them. I missed the exact how. Can someone give it to me? Like how?
Yes, I'll make this how much easier. The Kendricks, what Charles says, the Kendrick, it was pretty much a whim, really. Like they needed a weapon. They needed a badass weapon to fend off Death itself because Death is overpowering. If you haven't noticed from the shows, he just doesn't know when to quit. So they found one of the bodies that got killed by the Headless Horseman. That's how it made the connection so much broader and more brand. However, it did not work in Benjamin Franklin's hands because it was out of faulty testing and it failed automatically. So they buried it because they had no use for it until they found the right ingredients, which was the head of the Headless Horseman because there was just like the binding spell, you needed something binding to that corpse to that other demonic demon. So that's why he was there, and that's why he was not used in that war effort because he had no. They had the silver. What's that word? They didn't have the silver bullet. I mean yeah, something like that.
Because see, that's what I thought he was. I thought it was the Headless Horseman's head, but then something made me think it was their son's corpse that they reanimated, which that kind of would have been cool.
Yeah, but their son's he's already risen from the grave, and he's Henry, and he's a really good villain.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, he is.
How he got
Then
his
again, John Noble is perfect in pretty much everything he does.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He was great as Walter Bishop in Fringe.
And also L.A. Noir. He was also good in that one.
Never played L.A. Noir.
Fringe, Eric the Midget from the Howard Stern Show, who's recently passed away.
Oh, really?
A moment of silence.
Oh.
Carry on. 14 minutes left.
Okay. Oh. All right. So I'll fast forward this for you guys. So Charles and I go through the whole string of connections. All right. So they got the head right from Captain Irving, who was still locked up because he took the blame for the deaths that his daughter did, but not really his daughter. It was a demon. And this new captain who knew Abby Mills and Jenny's mother from a long time ago. So it was actually interesting. And Charles did not like her because she was a bitch, and sorry ladies out there, and she really was. However, I
Well,
liked. Oh, you're right.
well, Isaiah, the reason why I don't technically like her is not because she's a bitch. I mean, like you said when you corrected the notes, is that she's a hard ass. Well, she is a hard ass, but
Yeah.
sometimes a superior officer or boss has to be a hard ass.
Sure.
Sometimes.
True.
But the reasoning for my disliking towards her has nothing to do with how she treats her subordinates, like how much of a hard ass she is. That has
Well,
nothing to do.
I'm not talking about like that. I'm talking about like how it's like this,
No,
like
what?
a viewer's like, she's getting in the way of everything else. But that's a bitch. Like the people will say it like that. She's blocking their progress.
No, I just think she's a hard ass. The reason why I don't particularly like her is because for what Abby and Ichabod do, like how they try to stop the Horsemen of Death and how they try to stop Henry and how they try to stop Moloch and all that, I just don't think that. I mean, she's probably never going to find out what's going on,
I hope she doesn't.
but she's that Ichabod and Abby are doing something together, and she's going to try to get in the way of it.
Right.
She's going to get in the way, and she's going to cause problems for them, even though she's doing her job. And to be honest, even if she did find out what's going on, she would probably deny it completely. She tried to put a lid on it. She tried to cover it up. Irving wasn't willing to do that. Irving did cover it up for people's protection, but he was letting Abby and Ichabod do what they needed to do. I don't think this new captain will do that. If she finds out, she is going to cause problems for them. I guarantee.
And we do need that type of obstacle too, because Captain Irving, he was a great character, which is true, but you needed another character opposite from him who will get in the way automatically because they're doing their job. So this new captain will be a good. She's a perfect choice, and she has backstory. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And in the past, I have been surprised with Sleepy Hollow before, so maybe she does a complete 180 and she finds out what's going on and she's actually quite helpful. Maybe.
Hey, you
I
never
don't
know.
To be all, oh God, really? But in all seriousness, to be honest, I trust the people behind Sleepy Hollow enough to give her the benefit of the doubt, to be able to see where it goes, and once the climax happens, I'll be fine with it, regardless.
That's cool because I'm the same way too, and I love all the characters, even the supporting characters like Andy, Jenny. It's like all those characters don't feel like they're supporting characters; they feel like they're main characters.
Maybe because Andy wasn't in this episode.
I know, but I'm just saying like in general, like supporting characters who don't really feel like they're supporting. They feel like they're main characters as well. Like no one feels like they're a supporting character; they all feel like they're main characters. But we're moving on from that because we spent a little bit too much time on that. We got great scenery from the headless Abraham, who is a headless horseman, aka Death, and Katrina. And you see that Abraham does care for Katrina in his own way. However, you know he's planning something big for her, and he says something really interesting too. You're going to like me by willingly choice because he's actually implementing some interesting true facts too about Crane's doing in the modern day era. He's been pretty much helping out Abby Mills. He's using that against Katrina because again a little bit while back, and Charles was gonna say this too, but he forgot, and that's okay. Abigail talks about the purgatory moment she was in, and that actually messed her up. And she says the reason why her the demons that got to her because of her trust within Crane. That's her strength and weakness. Same thing goes for Ichabod Crane for his wife. It's his strength and his weakness. So Abraham knows both of that. Anyways, due to Henry and due to Moloch and everything else. But he's trying to make a bigger rift and make sure Katrina comes on his side for the greater good. So he thinks. Because he hates Crane, of course, and I really can't wait to see how far the storyline goes because that's a really awesome storyline for those two. If that does happen, if Katrina does turn, that's gonna make her character even more interesting and more badass. Because we'll get to the ending very shortly soon. Anything else you want to add, Charles?
No. Let's move on from that because I pretty much covered pretty much everything.
Okay, so we get to the bigger finale. Well, they got the head from the headless horseman's head, that is, and they put it on the body.
Yes, and I
go
say something on that.
Huh?
I was just gonna say that during the scene where they got the head and they took the Kindred's body to that park or something, I see. I'm sorry, what?
No, he's making a joke.
What was that?
I said rim shot because when
Okay.
head, I missed the mark, and then you said head, and I let you know. Just so you know, you've got about a 4-second lag. So, yeah. It's fine. It works. Just remember you got a 4-second lag. I should have did that in the chat.
Okay.
I'm wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, but all right.
Sorry.
But during that scene where he was with Abby and they were trying to raise the Kindred, he said the incantation the first time didn't work, which is an overused plot line which is done hundreds upon thousands upon thousands of times. But every time that it's been done, it's been hilarious.
Yeah,
it's always been.
And be honest, I think Sleepy Hollow gets a little bit of a pass on it because it's goofy for its own reason, and that was a really funny scene. And plus, I got a little bit worried too for our heroes because the Headless Horseman was coming for him like, oh, I hear something. That must be my head. So I'm going to go get it back and kill me some motherfuckers. Oh, see.
Any chance they're going for an Evil Dead nod with that? I thought about that when they did the failed incantation.
I would say, yeah. I think there's a lot of homage to other horror flicks out there and other.
He's a little ashy, a little bit. He's Ashley J. Williams, Ichabod Crane, a little bit.
Right. So that was really cool too. You can go on now, Charles.
Well, it's just when he was doing the incantation and it didn't work the first time, I was like, yeah, that's because the sun was still out technically, setting currently. And it would make sense that a lot of the stuff would only really be effective during nighttime. So when the sun was completely set and he said the incantation the second time, and the Kindred woke up, that's when everything just went completely badass awesome.
Oh God, yes. It was just. I mean, folks, you have to really watch it because you've seen so much action. You saw so much. It worked so well though because.
I gotta say, the choreography for the fight scenes was awesome.
They was.
That's
oh my God.
That's what I look for is the choreography. I mean, that's one of the things that I liked about Revolution was the choreography.
Yeah,
I loved the.
That's what I don't like about Gotham is the choreography. This show has a lot of what Gotham doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the choreography was phenomenal. What he did with that, I guess it was called a halberd, which is like a spear and an axe mixed together.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I love that kind of fighting style. I thought it was really cool how he was able to take on the Horsemen of Death and War.
Oh, War! I got me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. I mean, War was freaking badass. That armor and the flaming sword.
Chills. Gave me chills.
War's horse had flaming eyes, flaming nose, flaming mouth, and that was really cool.
So I got a little scared too, to be honest, right? Because War came out of nowhere. It was like, he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing that I kind of thought was funny was when Abby started shooting War with the shotgun. I was like, really? Did you really think that was gonna work?
Hey, it's a distraction, anyways, because they was trying to get Katrina out. Sorry, go ahead.
The Kindred was able to basically get the Horseman of Death stuck on like a piece of farming equipment, and he trapped him for a minute. And then the Kindred looked up and saw that Abby was in trouble, and he went to go save her. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
there was a scene. There was like a couple of second long scene where the Kindred looked right at Abby.
Yes, he was
right
on a
at her.
horse. Yes,
And when I saw that scene, it gave me the feeling that he was telling her to run. Yeah.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty cool. It kind of humanized the character somewhat.
Oh God, yes. It's like
kind of humanized.
Yeah, that's sorry to not to interrupt you, but yeah, because when we first saw the Headless Horseman, we thought he was just a monster. Until we got the backstory, it's like, oh, that's really good. It's like, wow. So this was actually like
Yeah.
they're playing the same cards with this character as well, and I love it too. And to help you out more, Charles, I'm gonna speed things up at the ending.
Yes.
So Ichabod Crane got to the house of Abraham, and he tried to get Katrina out, but she says no because if she does leave, Jeff is going to pretty much scorch the earth trying to find her, which is pretty much true because you can't really stop him until sunlight. But it was really interesting too what she said. Like she's trying to find more information what they're going to do and how they're going to bring back Moloch to Earth. So she stayed behind pretty much being their spy. But I also questioned that as well as a good viewer and actually a good show because itself. Because is she really meaning that stuff, or is she just pretty much playing Crane? I don't know. I hope she's being genuine. I don't want her to be the bad guy at all. But it was just so interesting. He said, like, no, go. I got this. I got to get some more things out of this before I actually leave with you. But also, one thing came to my mind, like, so how are you supposed to contact Crane about all this other bullshit? Because you're kind of stuck in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was really interesting. And you actually look at...
I'm sure.
You go ahead.
I understand that she wants to be a mole for Ichabod and Abby. I understand that, and you're right. She is going to have a hard time being able to get like messages out to them. But I think that's the point.
Right.
I think she's going to try to take time to earn Abraham's trust. She's going to try to earn Abraham's trust. And once she's gained enough of his trust and she's able to go outside the barn, she might set up dead drops. She might set up dead drops. And Ichabod and Abby are probably going to assume that, and they're going to go on the outskirts of the barn to look for those dead drops.
Yeah, but also, I mean, very briefly on this one, when Abby and Crane actually looked at each other eye to eye, it made you kind of think that maybe Katrina doesn't like her that much. Because again, Abraham put out some good facts. Like, so remember he got Abby out of purgatory like within seconds. It took him years. It's like, oh, that is right. Well then, screw you, man.
Well, Katrina, there was a scene where Katrina did start suspecting, like, maybe he's right. I mean, because he did try to get Abby out first. But if you remember, Katrina told Ichabod not to save her, not yet. That there was something else, that there was something more important to do.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, it just, for them to take that route, I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. But to be honest, I'd be open to anything.
Right. That's what opens to more story elements too. No, in fact, nobody want to see this coming, but we don't want to see it coming. We don't want to say like, no, she ain't gonna do it like that. No, she ain't gonna think like that. Oh, she doesn't think like that. It gets that viewers like maybe much more sensitive and more for that character, Katrina. So if that does happen, I won't be surprised, but I would like it a lot how they tell it. But
yeah, I don't know.
But
okay. So after they leave Katrina behind, Abby then meets with her sister Jenny in prison.
Who was arrested due to
says
guns.
Basically says that they're going to have to do this by the book because of the new captain, which is going to take time. Yep. I have this is where it goes in speculation, where I think Jenny is going to be in a prison cell throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I can see that too.
And they're going to come up with out probably in the season finale.
Yeah, again, that's fine. Like, they don't want to use the character way too much, and so that makes perfectly good sense. Same goes with Andy. You can't use Andy over and over and over. Same goes with Jenny over and over. So again, I understand why he did that.
He's dead.
Yeah, but you saw him in purgatory. It was a little bit refreshing, and you know Mom's going to use him again.
Dead.
I know he's dead, but don't ruin the moment for me, man. I like Andy. I want to see him again.
That's what I'm here for. I always ruin your moment.
I know, right? Always mess up a black guy. Anyways, speeding up things more. Captain Irving, who did a polygraph test, like, oh, this demon did this and that. The new captain didn't really believe him, but the captain wasn't lying to himself. So they sent him to a psychiatric facility, like a nut house, really. Sad. I hate to say that too. and still get the whole 9 yards, like electroshock, more crazy drugs in his system. Go ahead.
Just, I was under the impression that electroshock therapy has been outlawed. That it was classified as not an effective treatment for mental patients.
Well, it depends on the situation itself. Mental patients, like who's mentally disabled in the mind, they don't need it. No, for people who's actually capable and who pretty much are prone to doing awful things to people or who they whatever do, they have to use it to pretty much wipe their mind clean. This has been done by a lot of different facilities, and it still goes on in facilities, but they got to do within reason. So that's why it's a little bit on the edge of darkness, the edge of actually doing the right thing. So it's a mixed bag really. And so when the captain was getting strapped in to do his testings of electroshock therapy, guess who comes out of nowhere? Henry. And I was like, oh shit, son! Oh shit, I forgot. Captain did not see him beforehand, so I was geeking out too, so hard. I was like, oh my god, it's him, oh. So it was just a whole euphoria again. It's like I get this all the time with Sleepy Hollow. It's like he was actually his lawyer. Again, Captain Irving never seen Henry beforehand or war. So he's under the impression like he's a good guy, knowing the fact he doesn't know who this guy is. And so he told him to sign this type of deal or paper. And he pricked his finger on a pen, which is very sharp. However, I've seen these type of deals beforehand in other shows and other things. It's like making a deal with the devil. However, again, Captain doesn't know that. He thinks he's like helping his own self and his family and his friends out. So, but Henry knows that, yeah, you kind of made a deal with me, so you're fucked. But again, it opens up more great stories, and I just can't wait. I just cannot wait.
You know, I've been pretty useless in this conversation so far, but now I'm even more useless because this is where I have to admit I got busy, and right before that scene with the pen is where I did not finish anymore. So I'm going to be paying extra attention to the rest of what you guys are saying.
Okay.
That should be you, audience.
Yes. And that's pretty much the final scene of the episode. Pretty much. So, that pretty much covers everything.
I didn't miss anything, is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the end. That was the episode.
Oh, okay, good. So I don't feel
But, that's everything we're going to say about the episode. Normally we would go into wild speculation, but to be honest, as the host, I surprisingly don't have any yet.
Same here. I don't have any yet. Yeah. And that's a good thing too. It's like I don't know what to think because I know I'm going over. It's like
exactly. That's the thing. Sleepy Hollow. It's always been difficult to speculate. Always.
Well, you know what? I've been useless, and I actually do have a speculation. You ready for it?
Yes.
From my ignorance
yes.
standpoint, I think the wife of Ichabod is serious about everything said and is going to form an evil alliance with the Headless Horseman and all the other ones.
Nope.
It's going to be a crushing blow to Sticky Buns.
Well, Isaiah had a speculation last season
I'm still right
where he would think that Katrina would be cast up and become one of the other horsemen. She'd become a third horseman. And I disagree with that. Now, at this point, now that she's been captured by Abraham, I think that she's going to. There's a chance of her becoming a horseman, but I don't know if they're going to succeed. I think that's going to be the point of this season: is to rescue Katrina and to thwart Moloch's plan again.
Okay.
And I think that they're going to get very close. They're going to even start the ritual and everything, but they won't be able to complete it because Ichabod and Abby.
Sorry to interrupt you, Charles. I'm going to be very brief with this. Moloch, you know he's too smart for them. He's like, okay, you're going to interrupt him. I know that, but you know him.
Now I actually do have a speculation. Let's say that at the end of the season, and Katrina is then taken to that altar, tied up and everything, and the ritual starts. And some point over the course of the season, the new captain finds out about what's going on, and instead of trying to get in the way, she comes out and helps Abby and Ichabod and sends an entire SWAT team to that area and starts lighting those bastards up.
Oh, that'd be so
They'll
cool.
survive. They'll be able to get away, but they would have been able to save Katrina.
Yeah,
And I think
but-
that'd be badass, because that would actually be awesome to see Martinez come up with an entire SWAT team to that area, and they would just create all kinds of mayhem for the Horsemen. I
Right.
think that would be badass.
And
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
it's likely to happen, but my fingers are crossed to the point of breaking.
Right. And I think I am right that Katrina might become another Horseman because the altar is like, if that binding spell does work and they don't cut off her head, I think they can make her to a Horseman, if by willing or non-willing. But however, it would be really shocking if it was willing. It would be really, really interesting.
I think.
Yeah, and if Katrina becomes a Horseman, I was just going to say, if Katrina becomes a Horseman, then I think that Ichabod and Abby would do everything they could in order to make her come back to good.
Well, let's be honest. The evil is always going to win sometimes because it's Mala.
Well,
He's
purpose.
crazy.
I mean, if you want to get all deep about it, well, then the thing is that both good and evil have to exist. They can't
Right.
constantly differ among each other. There has to be a balance.
Right. Well, that's
Okay.
it, folks. Yep.
That's pretty much it. So, all right. That concludes the Geeks of the Round Hangout discussion for Season 2 of Sleepy Hollow, Episode 2, The Kindred. My name is Charles. This has been Geeks of the Round, and we will see you next week.